Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and I'm back as promised for part two of my two-part look at a complete run of the Bronze Age Ghost Rider. Last time I showed off Marvel Spotlight numbers 5 through 11 and Ghost Rider number 1 to 30. Today we'll be showing the rest of the run, issues 31 to 81. And when I pulled these out, I discovered that I actually have a few odds and ends in addition to that, which I didn't think I had anymore. A lot of times when I collect runs, I'll also try and pick up like guest star appearances or crossovers. And I thought with the Ghost Rider that I had actually gotten rid of all of those. But it turns out I didn't get rid of all of them. I still have a few, including one that's actually worth some money that I had no idea I owned. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with issue 31, and we have Beware the Bounty Hunter. Again, I don't remember a whole lot about this era, other than, it's not that great with a couple exceptions that we'll talk about in a second. Here's issue 32. I do like the look and feel of these covers with the Bounty Hunter. This to me is what Ghost Rider should feel like, and less the superhero stuff that we've been seeing a lot at the end of the last video. In the last video we saw that it had kind of shifted from the horror stuff, and they wanted to tone down all the hell and the Satan, which is central to the core concept. And so it was just sort of like, teaming up with Daredevil and fighting Hulk is just kind of pointless to me. Here's issue 33, where a bunch of motorcycle riding aliens arrive, which I sort of appreciate, because I do enjoy it when things make no sense and are ridiculous. So why not? I'm a fan of Tarot Man, so I can't complain too much about this. You can see from the prices as with the last time, the prices are cheap. Most of these issues are under $2. I paid $1.25, for instance, for this one, which is a cool cover. A standout issue for me, and a lower grade copy that I have here, is issue 35. Now, I'm not a big fan of Jim Starlin and his obsession with the Thanos and death and all that stuff. But here's a death story by Starlin that I really liked. I didn't know Starlin had done it. I read this, I was like, who did this? This is cool. And it's one where Ghost Rider is racing against death to to not die, basically. It's interesting that for some reason on the cover here, Ghost Rider's using his old skull cycle from the beginning of the run, which, as I mentioned last time, is the design that I really don't like. Okay, here's 36. In Denver dwells a demon. Um, 37. High Road to Hell. $1.50 for this one. Here's the UPC with a line through it, so we can see this is an early-ish direct market. It's from 79. That is something that has not really caught on yet in the collecting circles. Of course, the opposite has caught on. When you get into books from the late 80s and into the 90s and beyond, the newsstand variant is the more valuable because it had a lower print run, right? But the opposite, people haven't really caught on because it's a little bit harder to figure out at times, that when the direct market started in the late 70s, there were far more newsstand copies printed and far fewer direct markets. So here's a direct market. You can also tell that because they had the diamond as opposed to the square. But anyway, so far hasn't really caught on in terms of value. 38. Oh my gosh, I paid $2.25 for this one. Cult of Doom. This is the kind of feel that I want from Ghost Rider. And we're getting more of that. Here's another with the same character. Get him, my Suicide Squad. You can tell that this was a period where Suicide Squad was not trademarked by DC. This was $1.80, issue 39. Here's a really cool cover. Ghost Rider 40 now on sale monthly, which is interesting. So the series has been bi-monthly. We're all the way up to issue 39. The series bi-monthly. It goes monthly with issue 40. Now, of course, it's going to end with issue 81. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But here's the cool Death in the Nuclear Family. So this came out, again, this is 79. Copyrighted 79. Just checking a couple things here. But actually, yeah, so cover dated January 1980. So this is late 79. The only reason I'm talking about that, the date, is because it makes me think of 3 Mile Island. For those of people that are old enough to remember, there was a nuclear power plant disaster at 3 Mile Island here in the U.S. on the East Coast. I have vivid memories of it because there was a fear that it was going to be what ended up happening at Chernobyl, but happening like, in the major metropolitan center of the United States, and they managed to stop it. But I wonder if that informed this. 41. Here's another direct market book from 1979. I have no memory of any of these stories. Here's issue 42, which cost me 75 cents. 43, Ghost Rider versus Johnny Blaze. So this, of course, is going to become a big thing later in the series. But we start to see the split between the Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze, much more so the later you go in the series. We start to get this sort of distinct, and towards the end of the series when he turns into Ghost Rider, and we see this also in like Avengers 214 where he crosses over, where Zarathos, the demon, sort of is taking over, and he has no interest in being a superhero because he's a demon. And Johnny Blaze gets more and more reluctant to become Ghost Rider because he's being subsumed in this other identity. And Ghost Rider becomes more and more vicious. And we're starting to see that, I think, around this point in the series where that split's happening. Here's another second part, the two of them fighting each other. We don't really start to see it for another couple of years in the book, but I think it's coming out here. 45, 46. Here's another Ghost Rider versus Johnny Blaze sort of cover where all the losers. 47. Already they wish they'd never been born, and this is only the beginning. He's fighting what appears to be a biker gang, so I guess that is appropriate. 48. We're up into the 50-cent issues. That's kind of a weird looking bat monster with a gigantic head. 49. Ghost Rider is fighting what seems to be a Native American, and I think an actual ghost. Interesting coloring choice. I've been looking at things, with my comic, The Crime Busters, I'm planning on going full color. I'm going to hire a flatter to do the colors. And I've been looking a lot at, I find this sort of coloring choice be interesting with the monochrome. Now, I think it's because this character is a ghost, but the coloring decisions make a big impact. Here's a cool one, issue 50. It's Ghost Rider teaming up with the original Ghost Rider, who, of course, at Marvel has been renamed Knight Rider, but it's Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider together. So that's cool. Special double size. 51. Stay off of Clem's road, or else. Clem is an angry trailer truck. 52. The Sirens of Kronos. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Not only do I not remember any of these, I have no. I like going through them does not fill me with much interest in rereading them. Soon his soul shall join the others. It's 53. 54. The Orb. Again, I paid $1.20 for this, and a lot of these are actually really nice condition, and they were all $1.75, $1.50, $1.20. I think I've only seen like one in here that was even $2. Ghost Rider meets Werewolf by Night, and they're fighting Tatterdemalion. So this is cool. I guess it's weird they're in some kind of arena, but I guess maybe it's Johnny Blaze doing stunt work. Werewolf by Night's cool. 81. This might have been after his series had ended, I think. So that was issue 55. Here's 56. And again, we have Knight Rider, aka the original Ghost Rider. 57. The Apparition. A lot of these were from Great Expectations. I mentioned that last time. This whole run here were $1.20 each. This one's $1.25. It's from the store that was my LCS in the late 80s. Great Expectations in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Number 57. 58. Looks like a Bill Sienkiewicz cover with Alan Weiss inks. Paid 60 cents for this one. I can tell by the price tag that this had already been at the store for a long time when I ended up buying it. Now here's 59. I only paid 40 cents for this, which is great because it's a 50-cent cover price. I paid 40 cents for it, and it's like a 9. So I mentioned this last time. Nobody was collecting this series when I put this run together. It was right after the new series started, and I don't know if it just took a while for people to catch on to the old one or what. But none of these cost anything. I mean, I don't think I paid more than $2 for anything after like issue 12 or something. Here's one. The next one, 75 cents for issue 60. 60 cents for issue 61. Here's the Water Wizard, who's actually been a frequent foe here. 62. At last, the Satan-spawned biker tackles the Arabian Night. This might be one of the least appropriate uses of the term "at last," because it's not like people were reading for 62 issues going, when is he going to fight Arabian Night? Nobody was thinking that. All right. I'm pausing here for a second because my memory tells me that the series gets going with this issue 63. This is the part of the series that I remember being really good. Like, really good. The best part of the run starts here. Don't think it could have been here, but it was around this period. This is the one I remember kicking it off. Johnny Blaze, at this point, the division between Blaze and Zarathos is becoming more and more. Johnny Blaze is really down on his luck, and he joins the circus, and we eventually find out that it's the circus of crime, but a lot of people in the circus of crime are trying to actually go straight for this run, and so you get this really interesting group of supporting characters with a lot of nuance, a lot of different characters who have different mysterious pasts and motivations and stuff, and this era is the best part of the series by far, and then it just gets better and better after this point. So if you're gonna put a run together for Ghost Rider, that's where you start. Here's 64. 65. Bob Budiansky is doing covers on a lot of these. The next one here, 66, where we see a circus thing, is actually Bob Layton. 67 has a really cool cover. It's a cover where Ghost Rider is busting through his own comic book, a page of his own comics. So that's cool. 68. Okay, so this is a great comic. This is, now we see it's Mephisto here. You remember last time it was actually Satan, and they wanted to get rid of that. So Satan got written out. I think issue 19 was the last time Satan appeared in the series, and then it just turned into a dumb superhero book. Here we have a retelling of his origin, and now in this version it's Mephisto. But this issue is a great origin story. I think Roger Stern might have been doing the writing here, but it's a great retelling. It's a great jumping on point, but again, I would get a little earlier because I really like these Circus of Crime issues. But if you want to read the origin story of Ghost Rider, this is a great issue to get. 69. Here we have another circus. This era is just so cool. I can't stress enough how good these are, particularly in comparison to the rest of the run. 70. 71. 72. Johnny Blaze Helpless, the Quentin Carnival in Flames, the Ghost Rider Enraged. Don't miss the flame and the fury. Here we have Ghost Rider is getting more and more savage and more uncontrollable and more evil. We also get, I think this is a story here where we see the clown. One thing I appreciate about the Circus of Crime, when Ringmaster isn't around, the clown is actually the evil mastermind, the circus, and so the other people are afraid of the clown because he makes them do some of the stuff that they don't want to do. Here's a great Ghost Rider versus the Circus of Crime. It's a really cool like circus poster, but with the Ghost Rider skull burnt into it. Yeah, cool comic. 73, 74, 75, the first appearance of Steelwind. And here's where the end of the run really kicks off. 76 to 81. The end of the series is fantastic. 76, separated at last. Johnny Blaze battles the Ghost Rider. There's this whole thing where they go into hell and they're separated into different beings and stuff. And then next issue we get 77, revealed at last, the secret origin of the demon who dwells within Johnny Blaze. Here's where we learn about Zarathos, or Zarathos, the demon. 78, great cover by Bob Budiansky, where he's battling Nightmare, who's hanging off the logo and falling into the skull. I just want to mention, I forgot to mention the logo, which is actually switched a while ago. I was complaining about this logo because it's so boring. This logo, though, this one here, it's a little bit weird, but I like it a lot. I still think the original logo is my favorite, but I dig this one a lot. It gives much more of the feel of the book. 79, Murder by Mancycle. Okay, not all of the characters are winners, but there's a group of people that have been like merged with their motorcycles. This feels like a failed toy line, to be honest. But again, these stories are great. Issue 80, The Eater of Souls, featuring the long-awaited return of Roxanne Simpson, who was his girlfriend back in this first appearance and was in the book for a little while. Really, really cool cover with a stained glass window. And then finally, the last issue, another black cover. The saga concludes, and let there be death. This issue can cost a little bit more than the rest. Don't remember how much I paid for it. It might have been more than $2, but yeah, it's one of these last issue scarce. I don't know if it actually is any more scarce, but none of these are like, the print run wasn't huge on these. The book was not selling very well, which is why it ended. So compared to other books from Marvel at this time, there are fewer of them around. So yeah, great end to the run. Is 63 to 81. Those are the only ones that I would really be interested in rereading. So possible if I sell this off, I might keep those and just get rid of the rest. But that would be difficult because I don't want to break up the run. Sometimes when I've sold complete runs like this, I've used some of the money to rebuy just the stories that I want. But the stories are like, these issues are definitely more expensive now than they were when I was buying $1 each from them, and that kind of doesn't make sense to do that. I think if I were to break up the run, though, basically what I'd be looking at is I could sell the set of Marvel Spotlight 6 to 11 easily enough, and I could sell issues 1 and 2 easily enough, but then I'd be looking at what am I going to do with issues 3 to 62. I don't know. So I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to get rid of them or keep them, but let me show you a couple other things. I didn't realize I still had these. As I mentioned, at one point I was picking up guest appearances and crossovers and stuff like that. Here's an early one. It's Marvel Team Up number 20, number 15. You can tell it's early because of the 20 cents. So this was pretty early on. We have this Ghost Rider logo, but his motorcycle is not the Dopey Skull cycle. So I'd have to check the dates, but I think it's pretty early for a Ghost Rider appearance. Daredevil 138. You came here to rescue Karen Page, but you've only succeeded in destroying yourself. Guest starring the Ghost Rider. Oh, this is a crossover. We saw the other part of the crossover last video. I think it was issue 19 or something, or 18 maybe, because for some reason Karen Page had become a recurring character in the pages of Ghost Rider, and we saw the issue where Daredevil went over there to team up with Ghost Rider. So this must be the other half of that. And then here's a book that is actually worth a fair amount of money, and I had no idea that I owned it until I pulled out this pile today. It's Marvel Premiere 28 with the first Legion of Monsters. This copy actually is pretty nice. It's not, super high grade, but it's probably a 7.5 at least, maybe an 8. And I had no idea I owned this. I've owned copies of it in the past that I know I had gotten rid of. So I didn't realize that I had reacquired this at some point. And I am 100% sure that I got this out of a dollar bin, because there's no way that I would have paid more than $1 for it, considering I had previously bought it and gotten rid of it. So I'm not sure what to do with it. Part of me wants to sell it and get the money, but then the other part of me thinks that it would be a great thing to put in my dollar bin trading challenge. So we may be seeing that as a future book in my trading challenge. We'll see. I haven't decided what I'm doing with any of this stuff yet. And then finally, speaking of books I got out of a dollar bin, it's a Ghost Rider number 1, which I got out of a dollar bin, second series, and I also, as you can see, it's signed and remarked by Mark Teixeira. The date on it is September 28, 2013. And yeah, my pause there was because you can see that he's written his name here, but then there's a second name. And I don't know if he signed it twice, once with the cursive of this, or if I actually had someone else sign it. I have no memory of anyone else signing it, but this is a book, again, I got this out of a dollar bin and had it signed by Mark Teixeira. This is not one that I'm likely to put in the dollar bin trading challenge, even though it technically counts. I'm probably going to hold on to that one. That's a book that I have very fond memories of. So anyway, that's it. That's my complete run of the Bronze Age Ghost Rider, plus a few extra odds and ends that I did not know I owned. So that's exciting. And again, kind of not a great run for the most part. Starts out pretty strong with the Plug art. Gets a little bit like mid-70s sort of pretentious navel gazy with a lot of the stuff with Jesus showing up and all this stuff. And then all of that disappears and it just becomes kind of a weird superhero book for a while. And those issues are just like, I don't remember anything about them. There's nothing particularly special about them. But the end of the run, when they get back to it and Roger Stern comes on to write some of those issues, and the end of the run's great. The end of the run is really good. So there you have it. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what other series or titles or whatever you might want to see videos about. And there's some runs that I'm in the middle of. Got a lot more Captain America I could show you. I still have more Avengers I could show you. I've got stuff like my complete run of Jonah Hex and Sergeant Fury, whatever. So let me know the kind of thing you might want to see for the next complete run madness video, and I'll see what I can do. Until then, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.